Dear boomers, as I await the jury to come back with a conviction or not on Donald Trump's fate, I could not help but think about the last 8 years of what been like under Donald J. Trump. He has sucked up to tyrants. He has supported racists. He ended Roe v. Wade. He lied about the election when he lost. And he called for an insurrection to stop the peaceful transfer of power at the Capitol in Washington, D.C., when all the politicians were inside. Ugh, wow, that's pretty wild and very illegal and very reckless and very immoral, no ethics. So I wanted to also outline all of the different things that Trump has done against women and systematically eroded the rights of women, which affects everybody. It affects the women's children. It affects the people who have married the women and whomever they may be. So the Trump administration cut funding for the United Nations Population Fund, which provides family planning and reproductive health services globally. This decision was based on the Kemp-Kasten Amendment, despite no evidence that UNFPA was involved in coercion of abortions or involuntary sterilizations. So he has done amazing things to roll back. He called for an abortion ban in 2016, and he wanted to find some form of punishment for women, which was even too extreme for the pro-life people in some cases. I mean, the pro-life people have been pretty rigorous in the way they treat women as well. Trump tried to limit access to reproductive health care by supporting legislation that would institute a restrictive 20-week abortion ban and block insurance plans that cover abortions. Trump slashed funding for family planning programs and health care providers that provide abortion services or referrals. He issued a regulation allowing employers to refuse to provide no-cost contraceptive coverage as previously required under the Affordable Care Act, otherwise known as Obamacare. After promising to automatically overturn Roe v. Wade, Trump has packed the Supreme Court and circuit courts with extremist opponents of abortion rights, and he also fought to get rid of or overturn the Affordable Care Act, which would allow insurers to charge women more and not cover maternity care. He chose the anti-abortion extremist Mike Pence as his running mate. And as we know, during the insurrection, which failed, thank God, his supporters wanted to hang Mike Pence. Why isn't anybody, honing in on that? I mean, I don't agree with Mike Pence's policies, but I watched the whole insurrection, and when they started to shout, hang Mike Pence, I was appalled. I have never seen anything quite to equal such an inhumane. And he didn't do anything about it. He let it go. He also chose as his Betsy DeVos to head the educational. He chose her as his Secretary of Education. She compared the choice to have an abortion to the choice to own slaves. And as the president, he had aggressively touted his anti-abortion agenda And the president of the Susan B. Anthony list called Trump the most pro-life president in our nation's history. Trump called women the same as men if they do as good a job as men. Then they can, if they do as good a job as men, then they have earned the right to earn more money. He revoked protections against workplace sexual harassment, sexual assault, discrimination, and pay disparities. He also rescinded Obama-era campus sexual assault guidelines, which required colleges to take allegations more seriously and hold perpetrators accountable, and narrowed the definition of sexual harassment. And he has failed to reduce the cost of child care and made little promise on paid family leave. He defended employers who pay women less than men and called pregnancy an inconvenience for employers, so it's not surprising he had failed to follow through on his promises to solve child care. His tax scam reduced the value of the child care credits for low and moderate income families, even as he gave huge tax credits to big corporations and the wealthiest 1%. That would be a tax scam that Ronald Reagan began, and now, thank God, people are seeing through it. When you give to the 1%, there is no trickle down. No trickle down. In the midst of the pandemic, in which women were disproportionately losing their jobs, Trump scaled back paid leave requirements, leaving 75% of workers at risk of not receiving paid leave for children. Trump touted an insufficient paid family leave proposal that does not offer what has generally been considered paid family leave. So everything pretty much has fallen apart for women since Trump took office in 2016, and it seems like all the propaganda that surrounds and swirls around him just makes matters worse for everybody. There are domestic restrictions. Trump supported legislation such as a 20-week abortion ban and blocked insurance plans that covered abortions, and the funding for family planning programs, which is where I started my career as a nurse. I work for Planned Parenthood. They offered me an education to be a nurse practitioner, and I worked in family health for quite some time. I believe that we were all sort of stricken down by all of the stuff that was going on as healthcare people. And now, it's getting worse with certain abortion drugs that are a lot safer than doing an abortion. They are now on some sort of class restricted law that if you want that particular medicine, you have to go to a pharmacy to get it. It used to be that you could get it pretty easily. Women are subjugated. The Subjugation of Women was written by, this is good, was written by, I think, Stuart Mill and his wife. It was the Subjugation of Women was written back in the late 1800s by, I think it's John Stuart Mill and his wife, and it has to do with the same things we're grappling with right now. Women need to vote in November, and really this is supersedes everything. We can't allow half of the American population to go under, basically under the Trump regime, which is what would happen if he is voted back into office. The actual conviction of Trump has not, the conviction, whether it's a conviction or not, has not come through, and the jury deliberation has not come through. So we are waiting. Women of this country are probably especially worried about what might happen if Trump is not convicted and goes on to merrily become pregnant. If he became pregnant, maybe something would change. But and he'd probably get an abortion. Oh dear. So there's a film that will come up. One of my videos will come up. Go take a look at that and subscribe to the channel. It's all good because we have to, we have to survive. We have to be committed to get our democracy back, because it is going very fast if Trump wins the presidency in November.